Hello. As a CG supervisor, I have a pretty flexible role which allows me to see production from a bunch of different perspectives. In this video, I'd like to present what I'd consider to be a concept car of character rigs, addressing animation bottlenecks, and hopefully inspire riggers with some fresh ideas. Essentially, this is the rig that I would want to animate. Let's take a look. Meet our character Ivan. As the character is part of an unreleased short, Ivan and I have discussed that he is not comfortable revealing his face to the public while he's depicted in a naked state. Therefore, we will honor his wishes and refrain from this for now. I wanted to make sure this idea would work in older versions of Maya you might be constrained to, so what you see here is in Maya 2018. The plan is for Ivan to undergo a complete character effects pipeline, so spending time on body deformations in the rig would be a waste of time. As you can see, there's a full set of bones and muscles ready to go. The primary interface for this character is located in the HUD UI. Currently, the HUD is set up on another camera. When you begin the shot, there is a simple curve control as you constrain to one or two cameras with similar lens settings. The purpose of the HUD UI is to provide animators with quick access to a primary set of controls. The upper right corner of the HUD features options that are more directly related to controlling the HUD itself, while the lower left section allows for switching between viewing controls for different animation stages. The lower right section, labeled Spine Stretch, offers feedback for animators as they pose the character. More details on this later. Ivan currently is in his base pose, which is particularly important to start our animation here when character effects is involved. Ivan's rig returns to this pose with a simple slider on the world controller, which I can view by switching this view slider to world. The rig in HUD is designed to exclusively use the move tool during animation, which simplifies the process and minimizes the occurrence of gimbal lock. All of the HUD and animation controls are constructed from Nurbs surfaces, which makes limiting Maya's selection to Nurbs surfaces useful for selecting only the important things. To bring up a standard set of posing controls, the view can be switched to primary. The controls themselves are located directly at the point you'd expect to control, instead of floating outside the surface as in typical animation rigs. This reduces the size of the controllers and makes it easier to understand their purpose, improving the UI and reducing visual clutter. Selecting controllers behind the surface also improves usability by allowing animators to pose from multiple directions. When controllers are disconnected from the objects they are controlling, templated Nurbs curves are used to tie them back, such as this pole vector for the IK legs. The shape of the controls are designed to enhance legibility and indicate their purpose. Feedback shapes are included in the rig to warn animators when the IK limb is hyperextended, indicating the adjustment is needed. These shapes make it easy to identify the problematic joint and correct the pose. The simplified stretchy spine allows for animators to adjust the length and volume of the spine based on pose requirements. The HUD gives you feedback to let you know how far off base length it is. This reverse hip configuration, which mimics the arcing motion of a real-life pelvis shifting weight, allows for more natural hip posing. For the foot, I went with a foot roll setup. There's no reason this couldn't be any sort of other foot setup people feel comfortable with. Just feel like it fits better with the animation style I'm going for on this short. While the primary controllers of the foot are in primary view mode, I can switch it to feet to get more options, like the ability to control the direction of the roll or the bend of the ankle of the shoe. Now I'll show you my FK arm setup, which I'll switch to on the shoulder control. Excellent, and I'll use it for all my future rigs. The aqua controllers move the arms, while the green elbow controller helps avoid gimbal lock for more intuitive rotation. Overall, it's quite user-friendly. The IK arm setup is fairly standard and functions as expected. However, what's quite intuitive is how it blends to FK in the middle of an animation. By blending any amount of FK to the controller, you can view the current state of the FK arm. While the FK controls may be smaller at this point, they are still effortless to manipulate and allow you to easily pose the arm exactly where you want it to be when the blend is complete. The hand controls have been redesigned with a focus on simplicity, especially in the palm area. Only 2 controllers are needed to manipulate the palm, yet they are versatile enough to hit the palm shapes I'd want to see. Finger manipulation's also straightforward with the translation controls, making it easy to adjust the joints exactly as desired. To simplify hand animation for animators, I've included 3 predefined hand poses stored above the palm. Each hand pose can be blended to using its Nurbs slider. The slider hierarchy implies the highest ranked pose will override lower ranked poses. Always having access to a well-posed fist will absolutely streamline the animation process. The movement of the jaw is controlled by a single controller that can be manipulated in different directions and to varying degrees to achieve rocking and protruding motions. Manipulating the tongue shape using its controls is made effortless with the intuitive HUD setup that provides a clear visual representation of the tongue's movements within the mouth cavity. A single control allows for shape adjustments to be made along the entire length of the tongue, like width or curl. The secondary controls are for adjusting animation the rig generates. They have standardized functionality and is best shown through one control. Adjusting it vertically changes the amplitude, while adjusting it horizontally changes the frequency from negative to positive. For the dot controllers, the outer ring of the controller visually indicates the degree of adjustment, becoming thicker in amplitude or larger in radius for frequency. This clip demonstrates how you can edit the breathing control in real time while playing back an animation in Maya. In addition to the breathing controller, there are yellow controllers for other parts of the body, allowing you to add breath animation as desired. Appendage breath controllers only adjust volume, not frequency. For the aqua-colored Tremble controls, it can vary from a high-frequency shake all the way down to a subtle shifting in position. The eye controls in the forehead adjust the eyes as a group, but it can be refined individually by grabbing the eyeball itself. The highlights of the eyes control various iris and pupil sizing. The rig includes a control for eye darting. Similar to secondary controls, vertically the control adjusts the distance the eye darts, and horizontally adjust the frequency of movement. As I wrap this video up, I want to show you one more feature of the rig, an X-ray mode. Ivan is a joy to pose and I'm eager to start animating him in my shots. To any animators watching, I've made a concerted effort to improve the user interface of CG puppets and streamline some of the most time-consuming aspects of the work. I hope this gives you some ideas of what you can ask for out of the rigging department in the future. For any riggers watching, I'll repeat my concept car analogy. While not every idea will make it into the next production car you create, I hope you can take inspiration from some part of this concept and incorporate them into your own rigs. Thank you for watching.